Everyone, my name's Ben Gray, and I'm a game design student at the Savannah College of Art and Design. Sometimes I go by MNC Dover or Boss Hog X on internet forums and stuff. The purpose of this video today is to show you a fun little game I made when I downloaded this little free app here known as Swapnote for the 3DS. Being a game design major, it just kind of clicked in my head that, you know, this could be really useful in game design somehow. I don't know how, but I just started coming up with ideas and something clicked. It was really simple and fun. I thought I would show it with the rest of you. The video is going to be broken into two parts. The first part is the game itself, showing you how to make your own game, the Swapnote RPG as I like to call it. And the second half of the video is basically me reaching out to other people in forums or with other talents that might want to help me make this a little something more than just a niche title. So that's basically it. Just watch however much you want and enjoy. So the basic idea of Swapnote is that you can draw or write little notes to everybody and send them to everybody on your friends list. And when I was looking at it, you can change and buy new stationery. And one of the pieces of stationery was a piece of graph paper, which looks just like this one. And so I saw the graph paper and my nerd sense went off, and I immediately knew I had to make a Dungeons and Dragons game. So I whipped up this little template here in Photoshop. Basically, it's kind of a, you got the little map, the grid, and then fields for your dungeon's name, the level. If you wanted to make 2 or 3 levels for your dungeon, you could just keep them organized. There's your name. You got this area here for notes, and then at the bottom, you know, typical Dungeons and Dragons type layouts, doors, secret doors, puzzles, and even a little area here if you wanted to color code audio clips to add to your game. And so what I did is I went ahead and created a 2-level dungeon here real quick for you to see. And, you know, nothing unusual, very basic Dungeons and Dragons type of stuff where you got, you know, walls and rooms and doors, and then you put the little numbers and you put little details there. As for the details, you know, I'd leave it up to the dungeon master, but personally I wouldn't get overly detailed, as players are known to screw up everything you do anyway, so it's best to not bog it down with not much more than, you know, what you find, monsters or treasure in the room, and let the players handle the rest. And here, you know, I got the little lower right thing from room 3, and it connects to the upper right of this floor. And the whole thing is interconnected, and got little details, what kind of monsters, what's in the room. If they search, they might find stuff, etc. Nothing surprising or anything different than you would do in a normal Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Which leads us to how this integrates into Swapnote. So the first thing I did is, after creating the dungeon, I'll actually build every single room as a separate note in Swapnote. It's a lot of extra work, but it will save you a lot of time and headache down the road if you're wanting to use this dungeon over and over again with extra friends on your list. After you've done that, you create a little note here that says, you know, welcome to the RPG. Let's click this here. Sorry. Yeah. And what I did is I gave the players a choice of like 3 different characters. There's like the warrior, and the thief, and the wizard. And you give them little stats and differences, typical D&D type of stuff. And this is nice because everybody's response will all be categorized, so you can have everybody's player here. You can see I have some very fun friends who like to have a little different types here. So anyhow, once they have all that, you can then send them your very intro dungeon map. And I've laid out these, every Swapnote is 4 pages. It can be up to 4 pages, so I've laid them out in a way that the first one is like introduction information, and then the second one is your actual dungeon. So this is what the player has seen so far. And that's a sound clip in the center there. I really like the sound aspect of this because you can really flavor it up with only a 5-second audio clip, which is great. Third page is, again, more details, maybe like this is where the monsters are introduced or combat or something like that. And then the last page is usually reserved for like special notes to the DM, from the DM to the players. And if you keep this system in place, it makes organizing all of your maps later on down the road a lot easier. So here's an example of them going into the first room, door to the east, that sort of thing, and you know, oh, there's skeletons and bones and stuff on the floor. In order for this to really be smooth, because the Swapnote system isn't meant for this sort of thing, you got to kind of work around the limitations. The best thing to do is have the players respond with a brand new note instead of responding to these notes that you send them. This way they can have 4 pages of response, and you don't have to keep track of a whole bunch of different notes that aren't, you know, that they want to get more information on. So it's just easier that way, trust me. And the last thing you'll want to do is make sure down here on the bottom screen is to put the little favorite icon next to each one of these, so that when you start getting a lot of notes, you can use the L and R button to just cycle through everything faster, and you won't get as lost. Another thing you really might want to consider is, after you've laid out your entire dungeon, turn your DS off, or change the settings on your DS to change it to a completely different day. Like, you know, right now it's December, maybe change it to October, and that way you can put a timestamp and keep everything right here at the beginning, so that they're all really organized and easy to follow. As far as the combat goes, it's just a simple, like, you know, you roll a 20 and add their attack, they roll a 20 and add their defense, higher roll wins, damage is done based on their stats or whatever. Really simple stuff, not overly complex, but players and dungeon masters can make it as overly complex as they want if they really want to. It's just meant to be something quick and fun and easy for everyone to play. Basically, that kind of summarizes the game up in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please leave something in the comment. I'll answer them ASAP. And for the rest of the video is just going to be me asking for extra help and support from people that might be interested. So, thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around and looking at the rest of the video here. Basically what I'd like to do is, you know, come up with a web page and a forum and a feedback system to where people that want to play the game and really try it out would have an easier time of doing it. I'm usually pretty good at creating mechanics and things like that, but I'm terrible when it comes to artwork, Flash, web design, that sort of stuff. It's just not my niche, it's not what I do. But I know there are plenty of talented people out there that might find this fun and interesting, and you know, just give it a little fun, you know, thing on the side. What I would like to have is like a web page that would have a Flash, interactive Flash thing, to where people could drag and drop icons and symbols on that little blue map that I showed you earlier in the JPEG, and that way they could, you know, create their own little maps and, you know, maybe upload them as a little packet to a website, and you could have, you know, fan-based ones, or, you know, hey, here's my dungeon, check it out, it's, you know, X number of pages and blah blah blah. That way everyone could share all their work easily and in one place. And if you could have a forum, people could give feedback, suggestions, tips, that sort of stuff on what they think would be better. And then maybe, you know, like coming up with monster templates, like, oh, these are orcs and they all have 10 hit points, or blah blah blah, or something like that. Just whatever makes it really simple and easy for everyone to really get involved and create their own stuff, and have it all in one centralized location. That's ultimately what I'm looking for. So anyone who's interested in helping out with rules, mechanics, creating a website, someone who wants to do the Flash help and integration, creating forums, anything like that would be really helpful, and I would love it. My email address is bosshogx@gmail.com, and you can find it in the video description as well. Just shoot me an email and just put in the title SNRPG help, Swapnote RPG. Thanks, and I hope to hear from you guys.